I'm going to bring in the intro here. Donald Trump will become the first president since 1893 to return to office in after having lost an election and then sitting out for 4 years. What can we expect from his second term, which begins in roughly an hour and 18 minutes? We're going to analyze the prospects for the new administration's economic policies and their chances for success amid a clear division within the Republican Party about whether to go with trickle-down economics or populist economics. What about those mass deportations? Not to mention the price of eggs. On foreign policy, Trump promised to fix the Ukraine war immediately, 24 hours after taking office. Will it be done by tomorrow at the time of this show? Will the first phase of the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas hold? And will there be a second and third one? How about a trade war with China? To break this all down is my former co-host and friend, Steve Gill, attorney and CEO of Gill Media, a Nashville, Tennessee-based public affairs, media, and marketing company. He also served as director of intergovernmental affairs for the U.S. Trade Representative. And of course, he used to co-host The Final Countdown on Radio Sputnik. Steve, thanks for joining us here on the TMI show. Oops.
Hey guys, good to be with you. And Ted, remind me to never get on Manila's bad side.
Oh,
I mean, when she starts talking about punching, it makes me squeamish and squirmy.
Kick him in the balls!
Terrifying.
And who thought I would be the voice of reason and calm and compassion on the show today?
That's true. Look, for me, this media stuff is, I mean, literally, it's too close to home. It is home for me. And I'm just fed up with what's happened to the industry as a whole, because I watched the sausage being made here in Washington the last 10 years, and it's just disgusting. It's more disgusting than the pink slime that they use to make chicken nuggets at McDonald's. Gross.
Well, in Manila, it cuts the credibility of all of us in this business, because if you can't trust this host, you can't trust this reporter, then it just kind of bleeds over onto everybody. So it not only destroys the credibility of the industry, but it destroys everybody's credibility, because we're met with more skepticism and, what's your agenda? Who's paying you off? Who's telling you to say whatever it is you're saying, rather than those of us who at least try to speak the truth.
That's right. And where are you, by the way? Are you here in Washington?
I'm in Washington. I'm at the University Club, just a couple of blocks from the White House, in the library, trying to be relatively quiet, not in a whisper. But just a couple of blocks, and have been doing a full day of media thus far. I've got RT coming up. I've got GB News coming up, and another Talk TV London hit coming up. So I'll talk all the time.
Circuit. International circuit. Well, let's hop to it, because we've only got you for about 15 more minutes. So before you have to do all these hits. So first order of business, Steve, what do you think? 24 hours, he said on the campaign trail, he's going to bring an end to the Ukraine war. Where do you think we're at on that?
I think that'll take a little bit longer. I think we're going to see the mass deportations start immediately. You're already seeing some of those heading out of the country, as Tom Holman is making it clear that if we mass deport you, if we have to deport you, you're going to have at least a 10-year ban of even having a visa to come back into the United States for a visit. I think that's going to cause some people to say, I'd rather leave rather than get caught. And I think that for the criminal illegals, they're going to, you either self-deport, because if we catch you, you're not coming in even to visit your aunt, your uncle, or your kids. And then I think with the criminal violators, I mean, they're going to be wrapping them up, whether it's in Chicago, LA, New York. You're going to see real aggressive behavior there. Donald Trump is expected to do about 200 executive orders. I hope they have a lot of extra pens today. He'll be running out of ink about halfway through, but he's going to be doing about 200 executive orders, mainly reversing the Biden executive orders. It doesn't require legislative authority to do that. And it's going to take a little bit longer for legislative action to take place. It just takes a little bit longer for the House and Congress to get in, for the various folks to get confirmed.
So stuff like the student loan stuff that Biden did at the last minute, that's all gone.
Well, and the Supreme Court's already nixed that like 2 or 3 times. Much of what Biden has tried to do has been, knocked out by the Supreme Court, or by the fact that it's, just blatantly unconstitutional, kind of like declaring the Equal Rights Amendment having passed when it did not pass. Now, the pardons are another thing exactly, where he does this flurry of pardons of Fauci and Milley and all the January 6th, the Liz Cheneys and others. Those are a little bit more intractable, but keep in mind, That does not relieve them of civil liability. For example, Fauci can be sued out the yin yang for the deaths that were caused by his misinformation. They can still be called before Congress to testify. And if they lie under oath, don't recant what they've said under oath before, don't admit to what they've done, they can be prosecuted for contempt of Congress. And this DOJ will pursue them. With General Miley, they can bring him back into active duty. They can still pursue him with a courts martial. They can strip him of rank, strip him of his retirement benefits, make sure he has zero security clearance, and make it clear, this is if Steve Gill's working for President Trump, make it clear that any corporation that puts him on a board or hires him will be banned from any government contract for at least the next 4 years. You want to play games, boys? We can play too.
Wow. I didn't know a president could do, or administration could do all that. So there are other ways to punish people, this, outside of Joe Biden's literally historic pre-pardon.
There could be state charges too.
Yes. Yeah. Attorney generals, DAs. I mean, we've seen that in New York that, again, state charges are not prevented by pardon. And I think the other thing that, frankly, if I'm a member of Congress, I'm starting investigations today into the medical history. I'm subpoenaing doctors. I'm subpoenaing everybody that can know how much mental capacity does Joe Biden have. If I go sign a contract or sign a mortgage and I am not mentally capable, it gets thrown out. Is Joe Biden mentally capable to have signed these executive orders, these pardons, and let's at least run them through the mill of the questions of their doctors.
Right, these laws.
Yeah, they're illegitimate, and
could they be null and void?
They should be. If I go sign a contract or a mortgage or anything else, and I'm mentally incapacitated, I'm suffering from stage 4 dementia, it gets thrown out. They ought to at least bring the doctors. They ought to at least bring Jill Biden and Joe Biden to testify. Let's look at his mental capacity,
Steve,
and maybe throw these out.
More. As you know, we've talked about this on our show together. I couldn't agree more. But what I worry about is that there's self-interest here. Trump is as old as Biden was as he takes the oath of office. Obviously, I think he's in better shape than Biden was 4 years ago. But still, could it be that members of his administration might say, in 3 years, we don't know where we're going to be with 81-year-old President Trump. Maybe it's better not to establish any kind of precedent of an investigation that could be then turned against us.
I think, though, now you have members of the media and others that are saying, look, we knew 3 years ago the guy didn't have the capacity. Nobody's really questioning. In fact, Joe Biden has been clearly incapable for a long time. Donald Trump looks sharper now physically and mentally than he was 4 years and 8 years ago. So I don't think, even though the Democrats throw this kind of junk out there from time to time, I don't think anybody's seriously questioning his mental capacity. And I can't wait for the tell-all books to come out of those on the inside circle.
Do you think there's going to be a full investigation from the House Oversight Committee or anyone else? Or is it...
I hope they will. The problem is they've got such a full plate to deal with, and they're going to try to, within the next 100 days, get as much done on the legislative agenda. Keep in mind that they are today 2 votes short in the House of where they were. They're 218 because Matt Gaetz has resigned, previously, and now you have another Florida Congressman, Tim Walz, who is not Tim, but Michael Waltz, who has resigned to assume a position with the Trump administration. So those will not be filled by special election until a Republican primary, I think, in late January or February, and then April 1st for the general election. So the Republicans are going to be short at least 2 votes of where they want to be for at least the next couple of months.
Yeah, this is so what we're looking at on the screen for those that are listening. We're seeing the incoming administration file through into the interior of the rotunda where Trump's actual inauguration ceremony has been moved.
Did they have to kick Jimmy Carter's corpse out of there for this?
I think he's already been moved back to Plains, so I think he's not in the rotunda any longer.
Like, what if it's like, oh shit, we forgot to get rid of that?
Like, oh, Jimmy's still there. Crap.
They just shoved him over into the corner and said, hey, just put some flowers on top of that.
There's Miriam Adelson right
By
there
the way,
in the white.
Quick things to point out. You're Manila in Washington. You've been here. Both of you guys have been here a lot. I've never seen the security where it is in the vehicles that are moving the president around. They now have these anti-drone devices on top of the black SUVs.
We saw some of them. Yeah,
those are the anti-drone devices.
They're
And you've
like
had
jammers, or what are they?
yes, yes, and you have Elon Musk and JD Vance staying just up the street at the Jefferson Hotel. They have large dump trucks filled with gravel and sand surrounding it to block any potential car bombs. So security is at a higher level than I have ever seen in this town.
I can't say that
Yeah.
I'm surprised. It seems
There's
appropriate considering that this president-elect about to be president, has faced 2 major assassination
there's
attempts.
Pete Hegseth.
The other thing, by the way, Ted, I was tracking around some of your protester buddies on the street 2 days ago as they were brandishing their, feminist for Palestine, gays for Palestine. It's like, you guys really don't get what goes on in the Middle East. And then those that were brandishing and shouting in favor of communism and socialism. But I noticed all of the sales of Trump and inauguration gear on the streets and in the stores. Capitalism is winning. People are buying more stuff, despite what the protesters are screaming.
You can't protest capitalism away. You got to overthrow it violently.
No.
Seize the means of production.
You can't do that, Ted. There is over 30 miles of fencing around all of these these important landmarks where all these people, these important people. We're seeing Tulsi Gabbard filing
Vivek,
right now. Vivek Ramaswamy. Kash Patel was before that. I don't know who the old dude is.
By the way, let's touch on Vivek for just a moment. I got to tell you, I've had a couple of meetings with Vivek. He is as good a politician as I've ever been around. I mean, I'm not saying he's.
I heard he wants to run for governor in Ohio.
He's going to go run for governor in Ohio. I think that the issue is that he and Elon were supposed to be like co-partners of Doge, but all the attention has been on Elon. And then the opportunity to pick up J.D. Vance's Senate seat in Ohio came in. Mike DeWine, the Rhino governor of Ohio, picks another Rhino to fill that spot. So Vivek says, fine, I'll just run for governor. It comes up in 2 years, 18 months until the primary. And I think Vivek is in prime position. And frankly, again, he's as good a politician one-on-one, work in a room as I have ever seen. He's brilliant. No he's personable. He is honed in on whoever he's talking to at the time. But frankly, he's going to be a better governor than a senator. He's more of a one guy rather than a one of 100 guy. And I think that's
I don't know if he can win in Ohio. I'm an Ohioan, as you know, Steve. I don't know if they can. I mean, okay, here, I hate to say this. I think it's the ethnic thing. I just don't see.
Really? Is it?
It could be. Really? Yeah, but a Trump endorsement will help. His charisma will help. But I don't disagree. You saw in Kentucky, Governor Beshear got reelected against a very strong African-American attorney general, very popular. But unless you're a former Kentucky basketball player, if you're black in Kentucky, you have an uphill climb.
Wow. So, I mean, that's fascinating to me.
I think in Ohio, better to be black than to be Indian, really.
Well, yeah, that's a minority of a minority to be.
There's a lot of black people in Ohio. Yeah.
But East Indian, not so much, right? So I was just talking last week about Vivek's book, Woke Inc., which if you haven't read it either, it really. I
have read it.
Yeah. Steve, I don't know if you've read it, but it really pulled the veil back on how wokeism worked and how it kind of was pervasive into the business world, which is, into trade and stuff like that. This is your wheelhouse, and how it became a thing and became entrenched. And as we saw immediately with McDonald's of all companies, not long after Trump won, we started seeing Fortune 500 blue chip companies shedding their woke ideology, their woke ideals, shedding DEI programs. The FBI just shut their DEI. I think they had a whole wing or something at the Hoover building. They shut that all down last week. I mean, Christopher Wray is, he was obviously prepping to leave office. So DEI is fallen out of favor. Do you think that's going to be only with these Fortune 500 companies? And is that going to trickle all the way down across American society writ large?
I think that the pushback is broader even than just here in the United States. I mean, as I do hits in London and around the world, they're getting the same kind of pushback against woke and DEI that we're seeing here. The other thing is when you go back to where we started talking about the media, at the church service just before Trump headed over to visit with the Bidens and have tea, you had not just Elon Musk sitting in one of the front rows, but you also had Bezos in attendance. You had the head of Google. You had all these big media icon guys sitting in church again, genuflecting and sucking up to Donald Trump.
Of course.
I'm
There's
surprised
Elon
lightning
right there.
didn't strike.
There's Elon and what's his name? The CEO of Google.
There's Bezos.
There's Bezos.
I just
Kennedy
saw Mike
behind
Pence
him.
before.
Yeah, walking
Oh, there's
all behind.
RFK Jr. in the background.
Oh, there's Zuckerberg.
I mean, I thought the Mike Pence, that's got to be like an awkward stroll. That's like, it's like, I wish I were somewhere else right now. NTM, there's no place like home.
Why is Mike Pence there?
Well, it's, because tradition and historic. I mean, again, it's class. It's interesting. Michelle Obama is on vacation, extended vacation in Hawaii. She's not in town. So some people just can't rise up to the occasion.
That's petty.
Yeah, no, Mike Pence is obviously, I mean, I'm also thinking about what happened on January 6th. It's got to be awkward for him, for sure. But it's like, he's obviously a student.
To him on January 6th.
He's a traditionalist. He's an institutionalist. He wants to follow the rules.
Was it like AOC claimed that she was almost murdered on that day?
Right.
She wasn't even at the Capitol.
Thank you. Thank you. I think I was more likely to be murdered on J6 than AOC.
And I think Trump is going to start, his own pardons here later this morning as he starts pardoning some of the J6 folks. Interestingly, the Capitol Hill police officer who shot and killed Ashley Babbitt on January 6th was also given a pardon. They didn't even investigate the guy. Really? They didn't punish him. He apparently was also given a pardon after he committed murder on Capitol Hill.
Wait, is that a bra situation?
That's a bra. Lauren Sanchez, the fiance of Bezos, is literally wearing a suit jacket with a bra.
Her boobs are sticking out. What? Okay, that's.
Are we on Pornhub or are we on your show?
I know.
C-SPAN is the new Pornhub. Very quickly, we've got like a minute to go here. I can't believe I'm seeing what I'm seeing.
There's like
maybe I'll
boots
stay
and bras.
It's Jeff Bezos. Maybe you can sell maybe Amazon can you can order some clothes for your future wife. Anyway,
right.
What? Okay, inaugural speech. What do you expect? George W. Bush. I never liked him before he said this. That's the only time I liked him. But he said about the first Bush inaugural, well, that was some weird shit. Are we going to see some weird shit today? Or is it going to be what kind of speech are you looking for?
First of all, Ted, I think we've gone from inaugural to inaugural as we're ogling Bezos's, squeeze. I think Trump's going to give a more forward-looking speech than I think some people are expecting. I think it's going to be, it's Donald Trump 2.0. He's coming in with more experience. I think he's going to let his administrative people speak more than him a lot of these occasions. And I think he now recognizes that personnel is policy. He's putting people in place that he knows will advance his policies. Unlike the first time where you had people that were backstabbing, pulling the rug out from under. I think it's a different Trump taking office. And
they still got some neocons there.
There's Hillary.
Right? He still has some neocons to deal with.
Yes. But I think, again, he's better prepared to do it, and he has put more of his own people in place. And I think it's not just at the top, but those second and third positions in the different cabinet agencies are also going to be filled with more people who are there to advance his policies rather than their own agenda.
Yeah, I'm going to say today the party starts, for better or worse, whether people like it or not. The party starts, and I think we're going to. Maybe I'm just projecting my hopes, Steve, but him going in as a lame duck, and as the title of today's show would imply. Do you view this as a lame duck session, so nothing is going to change, or is he going in as a lame duck wrecking ball?
I think wrecking ball, but I think he's got a narrow window. He's got about 18 months till people really start focusing on the midterms, start focusing on who's going to run next.
I'd say 9, but yes.
A little bit longer, but again, you're going to also have turnover coming in about 2 years as people realize he's not going to have a second term, so people are going to come in. Look, in the first term, he went through 3 secretaries of state. Yeah, he did 3 secretaries of state in the first 4 years. So I think you're going to see turnover. I think the biggest challenge for the Republicans, and we'll need to talk about this some other time, who follows him? He is a once-in-a-millennia politician. He has pulled together a coalition. Is it sustainable? Can J.D. Vance hold this together?
Right.
It is a populist Republican Party under Trump, not the elitist typical Republican Party. Can anybody vote with
and populism tends to be a cult of personality, whether it's
right. I mean, I don't know that I don't know that JD Vance is the guy, the heir apparent. I'm not sure. I think
I
it's going to
understand
be
the
one of the
wisdom of
Trump
the
sons.
choice. I think, look, honestly, it could be like a Raul Castro situation where it ends up looking good after the fact.
Yeah.
I think it's
Guys, I
gonna be a Trump
appreciate
son.
you. We'll get back. We need who can come next after Trump.
Let's do it.
Hold it together.
All right,
So,
Steve, that's a date. We'll book
Thank you, Steve.
All right.
Thanks,
So good to
guys.
see you
See
again.
you.
All right.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Thank you.
Bye, Steve.